Yes, my good people, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Guys, William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is in panic. I want you to pay attention to this video. Senator Onyonka and Okiya Omtata wamesilence William Samoei Arap Ruto. Na hii ndio kitu inaenda kugharimu Raila Amolo Odinga kuchomoka pale. Because washatambua Raila Odinga ameingia pale. Pesa zimeanza kupotea. Zile do ambazo zinakolektiwa zimeanza kuchunguzwa, na kwa treasury guys, nilikuambia jana John Mbadi alisema ya kwamba kuna venya kuko sawa. Kuna venya kuko sawa. Unaona watu wangu? So Okiya Omtata and Senator Onyonka, they are now trying to expose kila kitu. And William Ruto ako na wasiwasi kubwa zaidi. And in the same video, William Ruto anatarajiwa kuvisit Mount Kenya. Anaanza on Monday. And you guys don't forget that watu wa Nyandarua wanaombwa zaidi, because William Ruto ataanza na pale, wanaombwa zaidi waweze kudumisha amani, because hao watu walijam. They are now saying that ile mambo ilifanyika Isiolo ni kidogo. Unajua pale William Ruto alikuwa heckle akiona tu hivi. So wanasema kwamba pale Nyandarua ataona kivumbi. So don't try to swipe up this video. Guys, I want you to listen first of all to Senator Onyonka and Okiya Omtata. And I want you to listen to Kenyans. And I want you to listen to people from Nyandarua. What are trying to tell the President of the Republic of Kenya. Na William Ruto ako kwa wasiwasi kubwa tena zaidi. So, kabla tusikize and show me like video, kama kawaida, help me telling you that hii channel imekuwa ikisupportiwa na wewe na imekuwa ikishikiliwa na wewe. So sina budi ila nikusema thanks so extensive kuendelea kusupport hii channel. Na zile moments unaenda kuchukua ku like hii video, acha Mungu aweze kuonekana na kutetee akupigania kwa kila jambo ambalo unajaribu kulifanya kwa menajili ya kufanikiwa hapa nchini Kenya. Kwa hivyo guys, without wasting time, I want to begin this video by asking, William Ruto alikuwa 5 days pale Western Region. Na ukiangalia pale Busia County, zile projects ambazo William Ruto alilaunch pale, kama kujenga soko na Mbale especially, utakuja kuona ya kwamba hizo project zote zimesimama. So William Ruto amekuwa akitembea launching projects, na saizi the truth of the matter, hakuna project inaendelea pale. So inakuanga rais kutafuta support ya hiyo region. I want you to pay attention first of all to Senator Onyonka, kisha tusikize Okiya Omtata, then tuangalie residents wanaongea nini kuhusu William Ruto kwenda pale kwao Mountain Region. Sikiza mambo.
Treasury bills are a legitimate form of treasury bills are supposed to act like an overdraft. Where there's a delay by the treasury, by the KRA to submit enough money to government, the government should issue treasury bills to fill up the gap, but the treasury bills by law must be paid within 12 months. They cannot become a debt. Now, under the Public Finance Management Act, all borrowing must support a capital project, a development project which is defined. But you find that we are borrowing a lot of money on the domestic market without approval of Parliament. Where does this money go when it is not even budgeted for? Why are we borrowing this money? And it's running in billions of shillings. Madam Speaker, I wish our screens were working. I would have beamed my calculations onto that screen so that Kenyans can see how they are being scammed in the name of taking public debt. I've done a graph, and you realize one of the interesting things is that our debt spikes every time we have got a handshake. Well, which means that the mechanisms of oversight are lost. In every year when you have had a handshake, there's been a spike in reckless borrowing and reckless expenditure by government. I hope it doesn't happen today. It's just unfortunate that we cannot, I don't know whether we are allowed or not, but I would have loved to to be projecting some of these figures on these screens that we have here, so that all Kenyans can see exactly how we are being messed up. And another painful thing is that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, which is all over demanding more powers and all that out of you, has never audited our debt portfolio. I don't understand why they cannot just let the police, the economic crimes unit of the CID, do their work. The ESCC has never audited our debt. You find again, one of the things that has made our debt shoot up from 2014 is that Parliament amended the Public Finance Management Act to allow for money borrowed to be kept offshore, contrary to Article 206, which requires that all money borrowed must be kept in the consolidated fund. So they amended that, and at the discretion of the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, they can borrow money and keep offshore. And that's one of the things that is really affecting us. When you look at the total amount of debt that we have borrowed, many people discuss it in terms of the actual figures borrowed. But if you factor in, Madam Speaker, you factor in the cost of the loans, and you factor in the interest on the loans, you get a shocking figure. Right now, we are standing at 18 trillion shillings when you take those factors in. Totally unsustainable for us. And I think in the last payment I've seen in this statement, and the projections of paying 1.7 trillion, 2.7 trillion in debt and what have you, those kind of projections are not good for this country. They are existential threats to this country. You cannot have a budget of, say, 3.7 trillion and spend 1.7 trillion repaying debt, and only 700 billion of the 1.7 trillion goes to paying off the principal, and 1 trillion goes to paying interest. That cannot work. It's going to sink this country. Another issue, Madam Speaker, that I would like to speak to is another form of debt that is not necessarily public debt, but it's a debt to the public in the name of pending bills. Pending bills, Madam Speaker, are a major scam. And the scam masters have convinced everybody in this country that we abandon cash-based accounting, we go to accrual accounting. Arrant nonsense. How do you do that? When you implement a budget, and a budget is an act of parliament, a budget is a law, or a budget is an act of a county assembly, it's a law. How do you accrue from one law to another law without referring back to parliament? How do you carry a debt from year 1 to year 2, when year 1, parliament said, or the National County Assembly said, we are giving you this budget, we are giving you this power to collect funds, and you have been given the capacity to do an appropriation bill, an appropriation in a supplementary budget, where emergencies occur that you may not have foreseen. So this drive that we are going to go to accrual accounting, when governments are run on a cash basis, special hours, and it's anchored in the Constitution, is another monster that's going to eat up this country. And we need to look it in the face and say, how do you achieve that? Because the people from this pack or whatever, these accountants, have come and they're hollering all over that that's what happens in the private sector. Who tells them that you can run a government like a private sector account? We implement budgets, which are laws. So I don't see a mechanism of accruing an issue from one budget to another budget without going back to parliament. I know that dispensations, there are countries which run on accrual basis. but it's not in dialogue.
To have a 12 trillion never goes down. It means the debts are actually not being paid. It means money is being siphoned off from the international money market, and we are told that this was collected so that we can go and pay our debts, and yet in reality, Madam Speaker, what actually happens is that this money cannot be accounted for by any of our institutions that we have set up to guard what is happening in our country in terms of financial management. So, Madam Speaker, I would like to really plead with the committee and members of this House, and I can see we are now slowly beginning to have a critical mass. Let us make sure that we know how much we are borrowing. Let us make sure we know where the money goes. Let us make sure what we can do. Let us, in the process of achieving this, let us make sure that whatever money that we borrow is utilized fairly, equitably amongst all our counties. And let us make sure, Madam Speaker, that Kenyans begin to trust government. If we don't have an open government, even if the head of state sings from morning till evening, begging Kenyans to raise taxes for him, they will refuse. Why? Because they feel that we are not being open enough and we are not telling them the truth as to what is happening to their money and what is happening to the money that is borrowed for development for our country. Madam Speaker, I would like to say another issue. I have watched what is happening in our country, and I've seen this for quite a long time. And the reason is I've been around for a while. Unless we change the way we behave, unless we change the strategies that we use, unless we change the socio-political, economic behavior as leadership, we are taking our country in the wrong direction. Why do I say so? We have a country. You expect what runs the economy of this country is the private sector. The private sector, the small businesses, the big businesses, the mix between MDGs, all these groups, when you put them together, that is the engine that is supposed to drive our economy. But you see, Madam Speaker, right now in Kenya, our economy is being driven by the national government. That is why everybody wants business in government. That is why everybody wants to do deals in government. That is why any transaction you see, everybody would want to own a piece of land owned by government. Everybody would want to have every single transaction we are conducting today is actually about government. How I plead with my colleagues here that we change that to the point where we agree that the private sector is going to be the driver, is going to be the engine that is going to change the country, the direction it's going. That we have an economy that grows, the cake becomes bigger, we are responsible how we use our donor funds, we are responsible how we use all the money that we borrow, and we are responsible how we use the taxes that we collect from Kenyans. And Madam Speaker, my honest observation and honest feeling is that we are failing on all those gaps. And therefore, I would like to say that what works, let us follow it up. Let us make sure that our GDP ratio to debt and to borrowing should come down to 50-50. And let us make sure that when we borrow funds, we borrow externally, because money is cheaper at the international money market. We can go 70-30 as we have always been. And I had Honorable Buru Odinga mention, and it's true because of the institutional memory. He was in the treasury. There was a time when the Kenyan government borrowed any money, Madam Speaker. 30% of that money was grants. 70% is what we paid. And the loans were concessional, the loans were long-term, the loans were very soft. That is how you change and develop the development areas in our sectors. Madam Speaker, I would like to finally say that there has been this argument historically, which started about 10 years ago, that all the money we get, whether we borrow it or domestically, what we want to do is make sure that we actually use this money to do mega projects, where you want to spend 500 billion, where you want to spend 150 billion. Madam Speaker, Kenya just needs for us to fix the health sector, fix the education sector, make sure that we fix the basic roads. Make sure that there is an ease to do business. Make sure that the Kenyan public appreciates that our education is running well, that we are funding university students well, that the primary school must. Why can't we give free education, Madam Speaker, to our poor people in this country? Why? Because Kibaki did it. He was using 72 billion to take primary, secondary, and university students for free education. Right now, the Ministry of Education is given 640 billion shillings. And we can't give our children free education? And we borrow this money? We are spending 640 billion shillings for the education sector. And we are not able to give free education to our students. And you hear all these things about who prints books, where the money is going. I mean, Madam Speaker, for us to fix our country, yes, this House can come up with the recommendation. But unless we have structures and institutions that are going to be the defense mechanism we use about our bad behavior, we will not go anywhere. Why? Because, Honorable Mtata, you notice every single time in our republic, at least, I'm so happy it's been like nearly a week that you have not seen a scandal. There is scandal after scandal after scandal about public money.
Nimeona President anapanga tour of the Mount Kenya region. 1 week tour of the Mount Kenya region. Kitu ajuu ni kwamba Mount Kenya people ni watu ambao kama mlikuwa mmependana, alafu hiyo love ishe, na wewe ndio uliwakosea. Ni watu ambao huwa warudi nyuma. Wanaweza wakakukaribisha, mkakula, mkapiga story, mkacheka, lakini kija kwa mambo nyeti, they don't give in. Ni kama kukosana na girlfriend yako, aende, move on. Alafu unataka sasa urudi akupatie mzigo. Hawezi kukupatia. Anaweza kukupikia hata chai, mnaweza hata lala kitanda kimoja. Lakini ukianza kumshika na kuambia ngoja kupakuche uende. Sasa hiyo ndio kitu Ruto anajaribu kufanya Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya is gone. 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 Achana nayo. Jaribu kwengine kuna zombies huko wengi, unaweza enda kujaribu huko kwao. But I know unaweza enda tu as a president, juwe ni rais. Unaweza enda tu Mount Kenya. Najua kuna hired people watakuwa hired wakupigie kelele, lakini huko hakuna kitu, Mr. President. Don't waste your time in Mount Kenya. It is gone. Unaona ile effort mzee baba Raila alipiga sana Mount Kenya, lakini hakupata chenye ilikuwa inafaa pata. Hiyo ndio sasa kitu naenda kufanya sasa. Those people will not listen to you. Wewe enda tu pige kelele, uangalie vile kuko zile barabara ulipromise ziko kweli ama hakuna, kahawa inafanya kweli, chai iko haje, lakini huko sioni kitu. Huko hakuna kitu, Mr. President. Don't waste your time.
Rais wetu atakuja kutembea Mount Kenya, na akikuja hapa atatuletea development. Tukimkataa ataenda kwingine. Na kama sisi hapa Nyandarua tunataka sana akuje, ndio akuamue zile projects zote zimekwama. We welcome him na tutamshikilia na tutakuwa na yeye for that 1 week, na najua akitoka hapa hatutakuwa the same again. Mount Kenya, tusianze kushout president wetu, lakini tumfurahie vile atakuwa amekuja hapa kwetu. Kiongozi akiwekwa hapo kama chair wa barabara. Kwa hiyo kamiti kuna other tribes huko ndani, hata ikiwa sio wa Mount Kenya na ni wa Western ama ni wa Nyanza, it doesn't mean maendeleo yote inaenda na huko. He is responsible for the whole country. Kwa hivyo I don't see kama tutakuwa affected in any way, kwa sababu hata hapo beleni si walikuwa tuliona nini, pengine hata saa hii ndio tutaona maendeleo.
I don't think we have discussed in full what happened last week in Nairobi when a PhD holder president decided to do development tour in the capital during weekdays when Kenyans are supposed to be working. Did the president expect that working people, hard-working people like myself, we will go to the streets to cheer him up when he is opening water points, opening kiosks, opening shops, and opening other inconsequential businesses and developments. Who did he expect in those crowds? Is it that the security of this man did not know that Kenyans were going to be attacked? Is it that they did not know that they were breeding trouble by encouraging people not to work and to go and listen to him as he was dishing out 5,000 to every person who came to the meeting? And that 5,000 was not even enough, because they went rampaging, stealing everywhere. Outer Ring, Juja Road, Jogo Road, Thika Road, and many other places. They attacked innocent Kenyans who are just walking by, going around about their business. And the president has not even apologized to Kenyans. He has not compensated those who lost properties and lost valuables, and their vehicles were damaged. He has not offered any compensation. So, Kenyans, the question is, what does that portray to us as Kenyans? How do you interpret what happened last week? When people were robbed, were mugged, were attacked, properties were destroyed during the president's visit. To me, I believe that is an indicator of a time bomb, of something, an undercurrent building within the Kenyan masses. It's a matter of time before these young people decide to walk in the streets and begin mugging and stealing from everybody without a care. What will happen if these young people make it a habit in every urban center to attack the middle class and destroy their vehicles and steal from them funds and valuables? Will Kenya be rulable anymore? And the president is so busy moving around the country on top of the vehicles instead of putting his body down and working. What is wrong with this man? So, Kenyans, when will you begin to have this discussion? You know, we have swept it under the rags. This is a time bomb, and it will come to haunt very soon, not very far from where we are. What's the government doing? Absolutely nothing. What are the MPs doing? Absolutely nothing. They are making their money. Governors are making their money. They are paying their cronies. They are paying their relatives, but not paying hard-working Kenyans who are committing suicide, killing themselves, going bankrupt. Businesses have been lost. Properties have been lost because these properties, guaranteed these loans that were given by the banks to supply to the county government, very lucrative. Anywhere in the world, the best business partner is the government. That's where you make more money. But what is the government doing? The government has almost $1 trillion bills that it has not settled. And the counties are holding the majority of these bills. They are not paying hardworking Kenyans. And for them to pay, you must pay them in advance. Where do you get the money? And it's been over a year, 2 years, 3 years. They have not paid you. So you go borrow again. Borrow with what? Your car has been sold. Your land has been sold. Your business has collapsed. So how do you compensate? And yet this government, it is so senseless. One day, Kenyans will rise up and they will remove you from State House. And the guns will not stop them. You will kill a few thousands. But millions will ransack you. They will walk right into State House unless you do something about it. Because the uneasiness in the ground, the disquietness on the ground, the heartbreakenness, the despair, the pain, and the anguish that Kenyans are going through, it is unbearable. Yet, you're enjoying and eating your fat. It is okay.
So guys, Must Go is supposed to go for a tour in Nyandarua County, yeah, for a whole week. And I don't know if you've seen, but the women rep is like telling people, I don't know in what gathering ama wapi alikuwa anawaambia sijui, but she was telling people how to behave when the president comes, yeah, and she's telling them tumkaribishe na vigelegele, shautie president wetu, akikuja hapa anakuja kutuletea maendeleo, na tukimkataa ataenda kwingine. It is giving ile pep talk tulikuwa tunapatiwa high school kabla muende funky ama kabla watu wakuje funky shule yenu. You know, you need to show them a good. Uni kama ajui tulionyesha Afrika mzima tu yuko united. Ni kama hakulan, ni kama hajui Afrika mzima tulionyesha tunaweza celebrate kushindwa. Anyway, watu wa Nyandarua behave, and by behave you know what I mean, behave. Kama unataka niongeze kwa list. Guys, mumesikia Kenya women rep wa Nyandarua wamesema. Mumesikia? Guy, oh my goodness. Hebu imagine akiambia watu wa Nyandarua ati president anakuja trip. Si trip. President anakuja kutembea Nyandarua na atakuwa Nyandarua for 1 week. Can you imagine akiwaambia ati msimshautie, mumkaribishe na vigelegele kwa sababu amekuja kutuletea maendeleo, na tukimkataa atatoka ende. Hey Alexa, leo nikumbuke by Christina Shusha. Atina tukimkataa ataenda kwingine. Tusimshautie president wetu. Jeshu ni wenyu na nani? Anyway.
Mimi sijawahi understand wa Kenya. I have just heard that the president is going to visit Mount Kenya this coming week. So there's another lady, ubongo yake nafikiri fanyi kazi vizuri. She's saying that unajua rais anakuja kutembea, he is coming to visit Mount Kenya. We must receive him because when he is coming with the development. If we don't receive him, he will go back with his development and take it to other regions. President anakujanga akiwa amebeba development kwa gari yake. Anakujanga akiwa amebeba lami na barabara kwa gari yake. Unataka kuniambia hakuna strategic plan ya nchi? So the budget ambayo inafanyangwa ni ya nini? The president does not have his own money. The money is set in parliament. Budget is planned in parliament. It is the Minister of National Treasury who does the budget. That budget goes to parliament. It is decided. It becomes a law, an act of parliament. The president has no business to bring development. Development does not have to come with the president. It is a national plan. He can stay in a Rambe house and never visit anywhere in this country, and development must be ongoing. What kind of rubbish is this? It is coming with the development. Which development? Launching projects. Launching things that even an MCA is not even allowed to launch. Launching project that chairmen of communities can launch. What's wrong with you Kenyans?